हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम टू लीड स्क्रिप्ट। सो टुडे वी आर बैक अगेन विद अ न्यू वीडियो। आई होप आपने टाइटल जो है वो रीड किया होगा वीडियो का एंड यू गॉट टू नो अबाउट इट कि ये जो वीडियो होने वाला है ये एक स्टूडेंट का प्रिपरेशन जर्नी के ऊपर होने वाला है। रिसेंट टाइम्स में काफ़ी सारे कमेंट्स आ रहे थे यूट्यूब पे कि सर लीड स्क्रिप्ट के रिजल्ट हमने चेक किए, काफ़ी ज़्यादा मोटिवेटिंग रिजल्ट्स हैं, बट क्या आप उनका प्रिपरेशन जर्नी भी हमारे साथ शेयर कर सकते हो सो दैट हमें भी आइडिया मिले कि हम कहीं ना कहीं अपनी प्रिपरेशन में मिस्टेक्स तो नहीं कर रहे। अगर कुछ मिस्टेक्स हैं तो हम उस पर इंप्रूव कर पाएंगे अगर आप उनका प्रिपरेशन जर्नी भी शेयर करते हो। सो इट्स द फर्स्ट टाइम कि हम लोग ये चीज़ शेयर करने वाले हैं। एक स्टूडेंट है, कैट में 98.5 परसेंटाइल्स हैं उनके, एंड जैट में उनका 99.85 परसेंटाइल्स हैं। उनका पूरा प्रिपरेशन जर्नी, एलिट स्किल्ड स्टूडेंट रहे हैं वो, कैसे उन्होंने प्रिपेयर किया, कहाँ पे उनके प्रॉब्लम्स थे, कैसे उन्होंने ओवरकम किया, क्वांट, वी ए आर सी एल आर डी तीनों के रिलेटेड कैसे आप जो अपना प्रिपरेशन है उसको फुली फोकस्ड होके प्रिपेयर कर सकते हो, वो सारे पॉइंट्स इसमें कवर अप होंगे। आई होप आपको ये वीडियो काफ़ी ज़्यादा अच्छा लगेगा, एंड अगर ये आपको वीडियो अच्छा लगे तो मेक श्योर यू हिट द लाइक बटन एंड सब्सक्राइब टू यूट्यूब चैनल एज वेल। और भी काफ़ी सारे वीडियोस प्लान हैं इस तरह के, आप उनको गो थ्रू करिए। काफ़ी कुछ आपको उससे आइडिया लगेगा कि यार हाँ, अगर मेरा प्रिपरेशन इस तरह से चल रहा है तो क्या क्या मैं चेंजेस कर सकता हूँ जो कि मेरे लिए प्रोडक्टिव जो है वो रिजल्ट्स निकले। ठीक है, सो दैट इज ऑल फ्रॉम माई साइड। वीडियो जो है अभी स्टार्ट होने वाला है, मेक श्योर यू चेक टिल द एंड, एंड जो भी पॉजिटिव आउटकम्स होंगे आपको आप जरूर चेक करना है, एंड मेक श्योर यू शेयर इट विद योर फ्रेंड्स एज वेल जो भी कैट के लिए प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं। सो दैट इज ऑल फ्रॉम माई साइड, थैंक यू। प्लीज कंटिन्यू विद द वीडियो एंड एंड तक जरूर चेक करना।
2020 exam did not go very well, and after CAT, usually people do get demotivated if the exam did not go well, and that's what happened with me also. But as Sir also kept saying that you need to pick yourselves up, and you may have a bad day, but you will not have a bad season. And that was a very instrumental piece of advice that Sir gave us, all of us. And I was a little sad for a few days, 5, 6 days, but then I decided to pick myself up and give the rest of the other exams that I was planning on. And that's what I did. That's how I managed to get a good score in that, and I'm thankful to Sir for that. Definitely suggest everyone to go for a good coaching center because you need a good mentor for these exams. I would say that only the very brilliant kids should try and self-prepare, because when you're self-preparing, you need to have the right advice, the right material, and someone needs to give it to you on a plate, or else you'll be looking here and there, spending half your time trying to arrange that and finding the right advice. So joining a coaching definitely helps a lot. It will give you a strong base and it will give you a right direction for preparation. Usually what happens is people will be just searching for things in the dark. I had not taken up coaching the year before where I had given CAT. I had given CAT twice. So the first that I could actually tell that there's a huge difference in my preparation, because this time it was quite focused. I just had to put in the work, but my directions were guided by someone. So I would definitely recommend everyone to take up a good coaching institute. Elite Grid is one of the best up there. The mentors there are quite knowledgeable and they will guide you rightly. That is quite important for these exams. You don't want to be putting in a lot of effort in the wrong directions. You need to know what is coming, where you need to be putting your efforts in, and that will give you the results eventually. I'll start with VARC. My strongest section was VARC because I've usually been a reader throughout my life. And I realized that since it is my strongest section, I can't lag behind on it, but I need to capitalize on that and try to score as much as I can in VARC and then focus on the other subjects. So for my VARC preparation, I've always believed that a good reading habit will take you very far. There's nothing that anyone can teach you, any quick fixes in VRC that will help you get better marks. You always need to have a good reading habit. I would start off with reading editorials of different newspapers in the morning. In the evening, I would pick up different magazines, varied sources where good written articles are there, and you have to just pick them up, read them. In the nights, I would try to get my hands on any novel so that you have a combination of both active reading through the editorials and passive reading too. So even though this was my strongest section, I was scoring north of 99 percentile in mocks also in BRC, but I was still putting in about 1.5 hours or 2 hours every day because I didn't want to lag behind on this. So my advice for BRC would be that there are no short fixes at all. You really need to build a strong reading habit, and this won't come in say a month or two. You need to put in 4 5 months of efforts, and then you start seeing the results. So that is for people who are weak in BRC. For DILR, that was my weakest section. And for DLR and quants, you need to put in a lot of effort. For DLR, what I started off with was I picked up a book called Puzzles and Teasers by George R. Martin. And in the initial days, I started solving that so that my mind could build a problem solving, pattern solving kind of a bent. And that is how I started. But eventually, I just switched to all the assignments that Gaurav sir gave us, which were quite complete and quite comprehensive. So the thing with DILR is that you need to build the problem solving capacity in your head. No one can help you there. So even like Gaurav sir also used to tell us that even if one problem is taking you an hour, you need to sit for an hour and solve that. That is how your mind will develop that thinking capacity, that thinking pattern. So for DILR, I would say try to get your hands on as many varied sources. Go for all the previous year questions, CAT questions, other exams questions, and the other mock material which is there. Try to sit with them and solve them. Don't try to look at the solutions quickly. That will not help you. Even though in that moment it will seem good that you figured it out, but no, you need to spend at least 1 hour with each problem. That is how that thinking pattern, that thinking capability will come to you. DLR was my weakest section, so I did put in a lot of work, but in CAT, on that day, it didn't go really well. So it depends on the day also. It depends on and the thing with DLR is that in the time pressure scenario, it turns into something else. It's not that easy. So if it's not your strongest section, I would suggest you work a lot on it, because in that exam setting, it's a very difficult section to crack, and the after effects of it do get carried over to your quant section. So coming to my quant preparation, if you're joining EG, I think you need to not worry about anything. Just follow what sir is saying. Just do all the assignments. I did all the assignments about 4 or 5 times. Sir also made us revise them a lot of times, but by yourself, you need to complete each and every assignment at least 3 4 times, so that any question that comes from it, you are not missing out on that. And the assignments are designed in such a way that they complete about 99% of the different patterns of the question types. So if you just complete the assignments provided by sir, if you just cover all the classes, be assured that you will not be missing out on a lot. For quants, generally, I would suggest that you pick up any material, any not comprehensive material, but any material from any institute, any book, and complete that first. Complete all the basics, all the topics first. Then you can move on subsequently to mocks or any kind of test to figure out where you're lagging behind. Now coming to a culmination of all these three aspects, you need to start taking mocks eventually. So sir also gave us a good timeline, and he would make a schedule for us for taking mocks. But the point of mocks is to analyze where your preparation is, where is it going wrong, and how you can improve on it. So giving the mock is not the main. It's not the main thing. Analyzing the mock is the main thing. So if you're giving 3 hours to a mock, you need to be in the initial days, you need to be analyzing it for about 5 6 hours to see what kind of questions you attempted, where you're going wrong, why you're going wrong in that question. Is it a knowledge gap? Is it a tougher question of the same type that you've seen? Is it a silly mistake? So all these things you need to be figuring out in the mock. So analyzing the mocks is a very, very important process that will help you improve. And CAT is a journey. CAT and all these preparations are a journey where you're just trying to improve yourself bit by bit, slowly, trying to figure out where you're going wrong. And yeah, that is about it. Usually, I think they start even the coaching institutes start giving out mocks by June, July. At least for the out students, Times at least starts giving out proper mocks by June, July, or August, I think. So beginning of August or end of August is a good time to start taking mocks. You need to be completed with your not completed, but covered with most of the parts of your syllabus to be starting to take mocks. But there's a caveat there saying that if you aren't completed with your syllabus, even then you should start taking mocks, because matlab, the best scenario is that you completed your syllabus by August and you have started taking mocks. If that doesn't happen, you can still start taking mocks, because it's an important process of finding out where you're going wrong, what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are. So even if you've not completed your syllabus in the ideal scenario of August, September, you can start giving mocks towards the end while covering your syllabus. But at that time, the emphasis should more be on completing your syllabus than giving mocks. Once you're completed with the syllabus, you can start taking mocks. And I gave about, I think, 30, 40 mocks in total, and a lot of sectionals. The key here is not the number of mocks you take, but how well you analyze them. Anything top of 20 mocks is a good number, but you don't need to overdo your mocks. You need to be making sure that from each mock you're taking out the right lessons and you are not making the same mistakes again. So Honey sir had instructed us to make a notebook of for mocks, where you note down each and every mistake you made, and each and every, basically every learning from that mock. Formulas you could have used, better approaches you could have used, mistakes, silly mistakes you made, something you overlooked, everything you write down to the smallest detail. And before each mock, I would go through that notebook to make sure that I do not make that same mistake again. That should be the process for taking a mock. There's no point of giving 40, 50 mocks if you're not analyzing them well. Then it's a waste. It's a waste of time. So first priority should be complete your syllabus. If you are near September, October, then I would say take mocks and complete your syllabus at the same time, but focus on completing the syllabus so that you are at that level where there's nothing left. You can't say ki mera ye part bacha tha, that is why I couldn't get this score. So complete your syllabus first, then start taking mocks, and then really work very hard to finalize your strategy, what is working for you, what is not working for you, what are the topics you are comfortable with, what are the topics you're not comfortable with, and go work on them. Don't give the next mock without working on anything. There's no point to that. If you find out that your work in, say, arithmetic, some topic, you found out in this mock that your work in, say, time and distance. So you go do those assignments again, go to YouTube, find out random videos of arithmetic. If you can figure out something, basically work on that problem, try to solve it, try to solve where you're going wrong, and then give the next mock. See if that worked out, see if that thing, the videos you checked out, did they help? Are you still making the same mistake? Then try to find out some other approach to solving your problems. So mocks are really, really helpful, but you need to be very systematic about them. You can't just be giving mocks randomly. First, I'll divide this into two parts. First, I'll talk about people who are not working. So for people who are not working, you have a lot of time in the day and you need to be making the best use out of it. You can start off slowly. You can't just think one day that you will start giving in 8 and 9 hours a day. That won't work out. You need to start building slowly. Say you start with 2-3 hours a day from March, April, if you're preparing that early, and slowly build, slowly start putting in an extra hour every day, every week, every month. So that by the end of it, I was giving in about 8-9 hours a day. I remember in the last month. So you need to be very systematic there, and it's an ongoing process. It's not like that you will have perfect days all the time. You will have some days where you're lagging behind. But the important thing is to keep going every day, waking up and saying to yourself that today I will put in these many hours for CAT preparation, towards my CAT preparation. So, and for people who don't have a job, they have a lot of time to kill. You need to build a good system. You need to, so what I did initially was I would work out in the evenings, meditate in the mornings. So it was a system, a daily system for me, wherein I was refreshed. Also, I would take a break in the evenings with the workout, etc. For example, give an example, for my VARC prep, in the mornings, I would read my newspapers. That was in my routine. In the evening, I would try to, before my workout, I would still try to get hands on some magazine, some random article I would read. At night before sleeping, just to chill, I would pick up a novel and read that. So you need to balance the entertainment and the work so that you don't have burnouts. And at the same time, you have a system where you're trying to increase the number of hours you're giving every day, every week, every month. But just try to build on that. It's a slow process, but it's a process. You can't just think one day that you can just go give in 8-9 hours. Second part is for people who are working. You really need to be sacrificing a lot. If you really want these scores, no one cares about what you're going through or how tedious your job is or how much time you have. In the end, the results is what matters. If you really want this, you need to be sacrificing things and putting in efforts towards it. So you need to be sacrificing your weekends. There will be a lot of times where you will have to sacrifice your outings just to prepare for CAT. You can whine about it, cry about it for a long time, but honestly, it won't help. If you really want it, you need to tell yourself that this is the priority and I need to be doing that. You need to be very smart with your time management. So, for example, if you're traveling to work now with COVID, that won't be possible. But if you're traveling to work, you can pick up a newspaper on the way, 1 hour. If you're traveling, then you completed your VRC reading part. If you are, if you have small breaks in your office, you can just open up there are a lot of Facebook CAT preparation groups. You can open them up, solve random problems. So basically, you need to be making the best use of your time in whatever time you have. You can cry about it, like I said, but that really won't help. Try to fit in as much as you can in the given time and know that if you are giving your best, you will get a good result. Even if you have, say, 4 hours a day, खींच ke bhi, even if you have 4 hours a day, but you're still trying to put in as much effort into that, you will be a confident person going into the exam, and that will be the difference. You will know that you've given your best, and there is nothing beyond that you could have done. That should be sufficient for cracking this exam. Even people who have given in 4 or 5 hours a day uniformly over, say, 5 or 6 months have cracked this exam. So just try to stay focused, be consistent, and pick yourself up. Don't cry to anyone else. It won't help. You can't be looking for solutions. You're just looking for validation when you're complaining to someone ki, sir, I have this much work, how do I do this? You're not really looking for help. They can't tell you something you don't know. If you really want to solve this, you can, as harsh as I may sound, but you really need to be doing it yourself. So, one thing I would suggest to everyone is that, especially for people who are not working, it's very difficult to have a routine in your life when you're not working. So, I would suggest that you do some kind of physical activity in the evenings. It will keep your mind fresh, it will keep you fresh, and it will build a routine in your life. I used to meditate, but that is up to people. I have usually found that people can't meditate very easily. That helped me keep calm, and it helped me stay grounded throughout the day. I would not let my anxiety about the future, etc., bother me if I would meditate. So that was a good system. That is the general advice. For section-wise specific advice, I would suggest that see, there is no straight solution here. You need to figure out what works best for you. Even if I tell you my VARC strategy or my quant strategy, it might or might not work for you. It depends on the person. So you need to be, when you're giving those mocks, you need to be trying out different things, see what works for you, try to implement different strategies, and see which is the best one, whatever works for you. So, for example, VARC, I will just give my strategy if people want it. So I would not scan through the paper, scan through the RCs, etc. I would just dive straight into it. But that was because I had developed this reading habit since a long time. I would just go into it, solve all the RCs first, then solve all the verbal ability questions first. And usually I was able to solve my RCs by 45 or 40 minutes in the good normal average paper. And the last 10-15 minutes, I would go to VA. Try to not miss out on para jumbles and theta questions because they're just free marks. Even if you get the thing wrong, you can just, in the last 5 minutes, there were papers when, in lengthy papers especially, when I would not have the time to really go through all the verbal ability questions. So I would just quickly skim through them and try to just put in something. Even if I get a random correct answer, that's just a bonus. So that is what works for VRC. DRR, I would say I'm not the right person to give you a strategy because I did not perform very well despite of all that hard work. For quants, I would just say that try to be on your A game. You need to, especially for questions which are easy and standard, you need to be knocking them out in seconds. If you need to be on top of your assignments, on top of standard questions, so that you can give time to other questions where you actually need to take the time out and think and solve them. So for that, for quants, especially for people for whom it does not come naturally to them, quants, etc. I was not a engineer, I was a commerce student. So for people like us, I would say that hard work will solve everything. Quants is one subject that if you put in the efforts, you will see the results directly. You won't even take time. So if you're solving, say, the assignments properly, if you've done them three times, any question that comes out of those assignments or a similar type, you can just knock them off. There are no two ways about it. So I would say just work really, really hard for quants. Try to solve as much as you can. Try to find new methods of solving it. And the same advice I would give for DLR and quants, that for a question that you're not able to solve, try to spend some time with it. Don't look at the solution. I will I will try to emphasize this a lot, but you need to understand the depth of what I'm saying, because this you will realize eventually. Don't look at solutions easily. Try to spend some time with problems. It is what will develop your thought process. It is what it will develop your problem solving ability. So quants also, even if there's a question which you're not able to spend at least 15-20 minutes with it, try to see so you can identify what is going wrong. Is it a knowledge gap? Is it a is it something you've studied and this is a more advanced version of that problem? If it's something you've not studied, then you can still let it go. That you can just do the theory first, then come back to it. But if it's something similar to what you've done, spend some time with it, try to figure out different ways, different methods of doing it. That is what will give you clarity in your head. So the next time that kind of question comes, you need to already have a blueprint in your head that these are three ways of solving it. This is the fastest. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? So that will only come when you practiced a lot, spent a lot of time with each and every question. There are no quick fixes here. You need to be an expert with each and every problem. That is when you'll get a north of 99 percentile. Unless it comes naturally to, there are a few people, but very rare. So hard work will solve everything there. Okay, so we'll start first with how did I go about with my interview prep. So since I was reading the editorials generally before throughout my CAT prep, so the GK part and the current affairs part, the general awareness was already there. So I would suggest that reading editorials is a great part. CAT is just one part of the journey. You need to crack the interviews as well. So for your BRC and for your interviews, definitely don't miss out on the editorials. Read them every day. Second part of what he asked is what they're looking for. So I think it depends a lot from college to college also, because there were some colleges where the interview was very fact based, I would say. They're not trying to analyze your thinking ability. Can you think on your feet at that moment? How aware are you? How well you apply the knowledge you have? How well you perceive the world, etc. Some colleges just want you to go up written knowledge, lot of facts, and they just want you to spit them out. They will ask you all the random facts in the world. They will ask you things that are happening in the country, random GK, which I felt was really not stupid, but pointless. Any person can do that. And so you need to be aware what kind of interview patterns are there for different colleges. Usually for the top colleges, they don't focus much on facts, but they'll try to give you scenarios. They'll try to ask you questions so that they can see what your thought process is like. Are you a problem solver? Can you apply the things that you have properly? And all that will come naturally if you are not focused on rote learning, I would say. Don't try to focus on rote learning. It won't help. You need to be an active thinker. On the spot, they'll give you different scenarios. They'll ask you how you see it. They'll ask you things like, say they'll ask you something related to your field or some current affair also. So what they want is your opinion on it, not the fact. They don't want you to spit out facts that you mugged up throughout the prep. They want to know how you're applying this knowledge and what your solution or what your outlook to this is. So for your interviews, even though it's another part, there are a lot of standard questions also that you need to be doing anyway. So for interview also, I had made a huge notebook wherein you can just Google all the standard interview questions. Why MBA? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? HR related questions. Questions related to your. So the first point with your interview is, I would say, be thorough with your CV. Things that you've done, that is something you can't be missing out on. So for example, if someone asks me who the Prime Minister of X country is, I can say I don't know. But for something that is already there in my CV, for some of my work ex, for things, co-curriculars I've done, or anything that is there in my CV, I can't be missing out on that at all. So first, be very, very thorough with your CV so that you can't just plead ignorance there. Second point is uh, try to get as much knowledge as you can about the general current events, but there's no end to that. So you don't need to dive too much into that. First would be focus on yourself, focus on what is there given in your CV. Third point is since interviews are a little college centric, try to speak to seniors, try to speak to people who know what the interview is like and what they're expecting so that you have a better idea how to approach them. So if you put in the hard work, you'll feel that it was worth it. And one example that I would like to give you is that after my CAT exam, I was quite desolated. I thought that this year also I have failed. And but sir also kept telling us that if you put in the work, and my parents also used to tell me that if you put in the work, it will benefit you in some way or the other. If you put in the sincere work, if you worked hard for something, it will benefit you in some place or the other. And really believe in that, trust in that. I did eventually trust myself, but if you've not given in the work, you will also not feel very satisfied after the prep. You will feel that there are some things that you could have done more, and that is a very pinching feeling. If you've given it your all, if you've pushed yourself, then even if you don't have a great exam, don't worry too much about it. So I could have been on either sides of the scale today. If I had not given that, I would have felt like a failure. But I decided to go give that and I got a good score. So don't go by success or failure. Those are very fleeting things, I would say. Those are quite hollow. You need to be focusing more on the process. You need to be focusing more on yourself. Did you put in the work? Are you proud of yourself? Are you proud of what all you've done? Do you think you could have done more? These are the questions you need to be asking yourself every day so that it doesn't pinch you later. If you have put in the work, if you have pushed yourself, you will feel very satisfied. You will feel happy with the preparation. And know that success and failure just comes down to random chances. By working hard, you're increasing your chances of success, but you could still have a bad day. You could still have a few bad days. So don't put yourself too down for failures. Neither pick yourselves up too much for success. Both are quite illusionary. Try to focus on the process. Try to focus on what you're doing and what you're putting in and what you are becoming through this, what it is developing you into. And for your questions, yes, it was definitely worth it. It is a journey, and it is a journey more with yourself. No one is here to help you. You have to figure out what is working for you. It's an inward journey. CAT is more of an CAT, or these preparations are more of an inward journey. How much can you push yourself to put in the hours? You figure out what kind of things motivate you. When are you having burnouts? What kind of preparation strategy do you have? What is pushing you? So all these things are a very inward thing. You need to be knowing what kind of a person are you. Are you capable of giving in so many hours a day, etc., etc.? So all these things are quite an inward thing. So it's a beautiful journey with yourself at the end of the day, and no one can help you out there. Just dive deep into it, try to put in as much work, and you will get the results. It will benefit you in some way. Even if you don't get the results, don't believe that this preparation will not go to waste. It will help you out somewhere or the other. It will make you more resilient. It will make you more hardworking. And failure is just a stepping stone for success. As cliched as that may sound, it's the truth. One door closes, next door opens. You might not get a good result here. You will focus on something else. And this innate ability of hard work that you build up throughout the prep will help you somewhere else. So just focus on that, and good luck. Don't worry too much, and good luck to everyone.